From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
It's the craziest I've ever seen the market.
Finding an affordable place to live in Billings is a real challenge. Tonight, one solution to this growing problem.
I'm Alina Howder. It's been nearly 6 months since the fire at Honest Tom's Casino here in Bridger took the lives of 2 people, and community members are frustrated. We'll tell you why coming up.
And 2 of the candidates hoping to unseat incumbent Matt Rosendale in Montana's new Eastern Congressional District square off in a debate here in Billings. Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. For the second time in less than a week, Eastern Congressional candidates hoping to earn your vote in next month's midterm election met for a debate, this time without the incumbent Republican Matt Rosendale, who had a prior commitment. Q2's David J. was at MSU Billings tonight and has more.
This is the second debate for candidates for Montana's Eastern House seat. Republican Matt Rosendale had a previous obligation. Libertarian Sam Rankin dropped out earlier in the day, so that left Democrat Penny Ronning and Independent Gary Buchanan to discuss the issues at MSUB's Petro Hall. The first question addressed the possibility of a Republican majority in the House.
Historically, the president's party has lost seats in the House during midterms. Republicans are projected to take back control of the House in November if elected. How are you going to advance your agenda?
I will not caucus with either party. I'm not happy with the leadership of either caucus. But there's lots of caucuses that in Congress that could impact Montana, and I will work very hard to do that.
They're values that represent the working class, an investment in the working class and American productivity. And so I believe that those are the things that most Americans are wanting us to do, whether it's in Montana or Connecticut or Nebraska.
The candidates then answered a question about inflation in the United States.
Inflation is at 8.3% in the U.S. What do you think should be Congress's role in easing the financial burden, and what policies would you push for?
There is no 2 ways around that. We need to bring those jobs back to the United States. But one of the things that we need to do right away to impact inflation is we need to actually start investing in the American workforce.
The biggest problem right now is too much spending. I think the spending on both Republican and Democrat sides have to stop. We do not want to go into hyperinflation. It's painful right now. I happen to support the Federal Reserve Chairman.
The 2 agreed on what they say may be among the biggest challenges on reservations.
Economics, jobs are the #1 problem that I'm hearing from the reservation themselves.
Economic development is critical for our tribal nations.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Federal officials are closely monitoring potential threats in the midterm elections, ranging from cyber to physical violence to misinformation. According to the FBI, 7 states, including key battlegrounds of Arizona, Colorado, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Wisconsin, continue to see unusual levels of threats to election workers, driving some to quit out of concerns for their safety.
The threats are real, we're going to hang you. I hope somebody puts a bullet in your head, that kind of thing. So it's unnerving. It's unnerving. I don't think most people understand the lengths that election officials go to protecting and securing our election system.
Wyman says CISA has physical security specialists nationwide to help screen buildings and polling sites for vulnerabilities. Gas prices have fallen considerably since the beginning of summer, but now could be headed back up again. OPEC plus the Alliance of Oil Exporting Countries decided to sharply cut production today to support sagging oil prices. The OPEC oil cartel will cut production by 2 million barrels a day starting in November, which could help restore cuts made during the pandemic and help Russia weather a looming European ban on oil imports. A shooting at Stewart Park in Billings leaves 1 man injured and another in police custody, and it also rattled a lot of nerves in the process. As Charlie Kleps reports, those shots rang out last night as dozens of kids were at the park for football practice.
I'm standing in Stewart Park, the location of the most recent shooting in Billings. And what sticks out about this one is how alarmingly close the crime got to children. Stewart Park is a popular place. Whether it's Legion baseball at Pertz Field or the softball league that runs through the summer, there's always someone here. And that's why what happened Tuesday night is so concerning.
Obviously, we've never had something like that happen, but you know, it's something that we have to think about in the world we live in, unfortunately.
Right around 7 p.m. Tuesday, police say shots were fired and a 32-year-old man was hit. It happened as 2 youth football practices were taking place.
I mean, anywhere between 50 and 60 kids and 10 to 12 coaches, and then however many parents hang out and watch practice. You know, there was probably over 75, 80 people out here.
Preston Roberts is the director of the league. He says it was his worst nightmare coming true.
There's procedure when it happens in a school or if it happens inside of a public building, but out here, you know, it's open space. You know, all sorts of things could happen, and you know, it's something that we definitely have to think about and have to make a plan about going forward.
And it's not just athletes and their parents who are concerned by what happened here. Tanessa Takes Enemy constantly brings her 2-year-old daughter to the park.
My daughter's 2, and she loves to run around, be outside, and so do I.
She'll now think twice before coming here.
Park is a public area. It's supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be something good for everyone. There's just too much going on, and just needs to be stopped.
A concerning situation hitting close to home and a place many enjoy each and every day.
You have to worry about safety of kids, you know, on the field and stuff like that, and then have to worry about these kind of situations getting close to them. It's getting scary.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Nearly 6 months after that fire here at Honest Tom's Casino, the building remains locked up, the inside decimated by that fire, and the investigation into the arson that destroyed the business is moving along slowly to the frustration of many.
Honest Tom's Casino is a shell of its former self. The business stands empty here on Main Street in Bridger, the inside destroyed by the raging fire that claimed the lives of 71-year-old Marla Murray and 33-year-old John Ailes.
We lost such a wonderful, wonderful lady, and grandma and great-grandma.
Doug Judkins owns the Bridger Fur Company, which until last week was located just across the street from Honest Tom's. He's one of many in this community anxiously waiting for news of any kind about the investigation.
I just wish that we could at least have some closure that could help a little bit.
But that's something law enforcement can't provide, frustrating not only to the members of this community, but also to Mike Beekler, the chief of police.
3 or 4 times a day I get the same question, you know, what's going on? When are we going to hear something? And I can just give them the same answer as when we've got answers, we'll give them to you.
The Carbon County Sheriff's Office and the Montana Division of Criminal Investigation are leading the investigation. According to DCI, the case is stuck in the state crime lab where forensics experts are processing DNA and other physical evidence.
We are working on it. Nobody has forgotten anything. And at the moment, it might seem like we're dragging our heels, but it's only because we're waiting on basically the lab.
That means family and community members will have to continue to wait as they continue to mourn. Doug and his wife used to bring Marla Murray chicken and dumplings, and he says it's a dish that will forever remind him of his friend.
When my wife made that chicken dumplings, both of us at the same time says, wow, that made me miss Marla.
In Bridger, Alina Howder, MTN News.
Okay, we're going to have lots of time to talk about the weather. For just a couple of seconds, we're going to talk about, these are scenes from our last Pink Breakfast. It's been a few years thanks to the pandemic, but we're going to bring it back again this year. It's open as a free breakfast just to get together and just share for cancer survivors and caregivers. It's going to be on Friday the 14th. So we want to invite you to come and have a good time with us. Looks like a good time there, doesn't it? You can register by going to ktvq.com/pinkbreakfast. Just fill out some basic information so we know how many people to expect. 6 to 7 right here at the studio. While we're doing Montana this morning, it's always a good time. Forecast details are coming up in just a few minutes from now.
drive around just about any Billings neighborhood right now, you're sure to see plenty of for sale signs. In fact, there's another one just across the street from this one as sellers continue to try to take advantage of a high market, at least compared to a couple years ago. The problem for the buyers, they either can't afford the high house price, they can't afford the rising mortgage rates, and their option B of a rental is almost tougher.
It's been a struggle, definitely.
How long have you been looking now?
Since February.
Shauna Morin wants to be a Billings resident. She wants to be able to care for her aging father here. She wants her 3 kids to go to school here. But she can't find a house here.
Just with all the pricing for everything.
The average listing price for a Billings home right now is $399,000, according to Realtor.com. That number was $254,900 in February 2020, a 56.5% increase. She did eventually find a place earlier this year. It was just quite a ways south of Billings, in Lander, Wyoming.
Which definitely is kind of a hike, as you know, 4.5 hours. So that is definitely, it's difficult.
So a few weeks ago, Morin started looking for rentals in Billings, and that hasn't gone any better.
5-6 families all looking at the same time. It feels like if you're not the first one through the door, then there goes your opportunity.
If you can even afford it. Morin is looking for a 3-bedroom for her and her kids. According to tracing website Zumper, the average rent was $1,250 for a 3-bedroom in February 2020. This past August, it had risen to $1,895.
Before we even had them completely built, we had a waiting list of folks.
Eric Basie is the executive director of Community Leadership and Development Incorporated on the South Side. This summer, they opened Mosaic, a 6-unit, low-cost senior living facility.
We've had several tenants say, I'm not leaving this place. This is going to be my spot until I die.
CLDI is charging tenants well below market value on Mosaic because they can. The project was fully paid for by grants and donors. This winter, CLDI will break ground on Tapestry, a 26-unit low-cost apartment building.
It'll be for 40 years mandated that it's hitting a target population, and it'll be serving that 40 to 60% average median income.
Basie sees the need for affordable housing every day. Until there's more of it, Morin will just keep trying. What else can she do?
It's been really difficult to keep a positive attitude through all of it, but I mean, you have to.
What's your alternative?
Yeah, you have no other option.
In Billings, Casey Conlon, MTN News.
Acts of kindness can go a long ways, and those acts may be easier than you think. Julie Eskandari hides these rocks all over town, a kindness-spreading treasure hunt of sorts. But she recently put a new spin on it, bringing 40 rocks that she's painted and tattooed with special messages to West High in hopes of making some students' days a little better.
Who needs a smile more than a kid that's going through hormones, friendships, ups and downs, and just, who needs it more than that?
Julie isn't the only one using rocks to spread kindness here in the Magic City. There's an entire kindness rock garden about to open at the United Way on Overland Avenue. Starting Thursday, you can drop off your own small act of kindness. Well, ahead on the MTN News at 10 here on Q2. Billings traffic may not be so bad right now, but what will it look like in 40 years? We'll tell you why the city is looking into the future when it comes to transportation. And hard work on the ranch leads to success on the football field for our Athlete of the Week.